Welcome back to my balcony. And welcome back to the channel. My name is Karis, your favorite host, and you are watching You Don't Scare Me. Today we're chatting about an interesting topic, a hotly debated topic in the paranormal world, and that is whether or not your child, your niece, your nephew, your dog, your cat, your parrot, your fish can see and speak to ghosts. If your fish is talking to ghosts, you've got bigger problems than the ghosts. See a doctor. Ask about. Never mind. Have you ever seen a toddler pointing intently into the corner of your room? Or perhaps maybe a dog? Or sorry, caveat to that toddler. Have you ever seen a toddler pointing into the corner of a room talking to an imaginary friend? Or maybe telling you that they see dead people or ghosts, or they're talking to dad and who's recently departed. Rest in peace. Perhaps your dog has suddenly started barking ferociously at what appears to be thin air, and you think to yourself, huh, maybe it's a ghost. Maybe my kid, my cat, my dog, my cat, again, my plants, my hamster can see the unknown. But what if I told you there was a fascinating and perfectly logical reason for this behavior? Deeply rooted in how we are young brains, or their young brains, or their dumb brains, both human and animal kind of perceive the world. You see, for us adults, we have a very clear, well established boundary between what is real and what is imagined. If I close my eyes and I picture a purple elephant tap dancing on a stage, I know unequivocally that this is a figment of my imagination. My brain has built up years of data, countless, countless experiences that confirm, more or less, that elephants don't spontaneously appear on stage, let alone perform a intricate dance routine. But children, on the other hand, they don't have that wealth of knowledge, that genius that tells my brain, or my brain that tells me, that elephants can't tap dance. Maybe they can. No, Google it. Listen, I'm gonna level with you here. I don't think elephants can tap dance. But children do. Children can't really delineate it, that information. You see, for us adults, and anybody with a sound body and mind, we have a very clear and well-established boundary between what is real and what is imagined. I already read that part. You're not crazy. I did. Skipping ahead. I've built up years. Ugh. I'll just cut that part out. Nobody needs to know that I fire up every now and again. For a young child, though, the line simply isn't as solid. Their imaginations are not as vivid. Sorry. For a young child, though, that line simply isn't as solid. Their imaginations aren't just vivid, they are incredibly experimental. When a child imagines a fluffy monster in their closet, their brain kind of generates the sensations that are remarkably similar. My battery's dying. Which battery, though? Which battery, though? Oh well. When a child imagines a fluffy monster in their closet, their brain can generate sensations that are remarkably similar to what they would feel if a real fluffy monster were in there. The fear, the excitement, the wonder, it's all very, very, very real to them. Now, their developing brains haven't yet categorized and filed away enough real world data to consistently cross reference and dismiss these internal creations. So that's why it's so important that when your kid is developing, that you kind of nip the, you know, imaginary friends in the butt when you can, because as they grow older, it will become harder and harder for them to differentiate between reality and subconscious reality, or what they believe is real. So their developing brains haven't really figured that out yet. They lack the vast database of logical reasoning that allows us to instantly differentiate between a thought and a tangible object. They're not being illogical. They're simply just experiencing a world where imagination holds immense power. We don't have that anymore. We're adults. We're lame. When we go into Minecraft to dig a hole, we just dig a hole. We don't imagine all the cool things we can put in that hole. You know what I'm saying, man? So, like, the bottom line is that children, this is why we say the whimsy of a child, they just don't have that understanding of what is real and what is not. You know what I am saying? What about your animals though? They're not kids. They're not imagining purple elephants dancing on a stage to a choreographed epic dance routine. You know, uh, Ziggy, my cat, who you've probably seen in a couple videos here and there, my partner and I often believe that she's actually witnessing and experiencing demons as she zooms around the apartment with her eyes in two different directions, screaming at the top of her lungs as if she's being eviscerated. At 3 in the morning, 4 in the morning, 5 in the morning, 6 in the morning. Actually, I don't know what happens at 6 in the morning. I'm already at work by that point. Now, maybe she's seeing something otherworldly. It's kind of unlikely, though, considering how dumb she is. Now, consider how like animals experience their own environments. You know, their senses are incredibly acute, often far beyond our own. You know, a subtle shift in the air pressure, maybe a high frequency sound that's sort of outside of our range of hearing, a faint scent carried on the breeze. These imperceptible stimuli, can trigger a very strong response. You might not smell it. I'm like really itchy right now, and it's probably because I'm outside and near my plants. I keep fidgeting with my face, but anyways, you might not smell fox urine or maybe a dead animal from across the street, maybe down the road, but those scents can be carried for long distances. And your dogs, man, can they smell things really well? Even the smallest, minute scent, which is why they're good for sniffing drugs and bombs. They know. You know, they don't need to like get their nose right in it. They can smell it from a mile away, literally. Now, an animal's brain is constantly interpreting all these little sensory inputs. If there's an unusual creak in the house or a shadow cast by a passing cloud, a dust, a little dust bunny drifting across the floor, their brains, driven by instinct, try to make sense of that. They don't have the capacity for complex logical deduction. Like, oh man, it's just the house settling. Instead, their minds are trying to fill in the gaps with what could be there, a potential threat, a new presence, something unfamiliar. The reaction is not a hallucination, like a child would be. It's an instinctual response to a complete or incomplete sensory information. Bit of incomplete sensory information. Smelling that bear urine from like the forest across the street and freaking out about it. Just checking to see if I was still recording. Now, processed through their, sensitive perceptual system, they might perceive or they might think that there's something there that genuinely isn't there. They're not seeing ghosts, they're just reacting to something that we can't perceive. And again, like, oh, but what if it's ghosts? No, it's horse pee, it's deer, the smell of a deer, smell of a skunk, smell of a fart squirrel, as I like to call them. Bottom line is that like a lot of times, like, you guys, like, your dogs will bark at nothing. They'll see their own. They'll bang their tail against a table and have a bloody hairy conniption fit, thinking that they're just like getting like attacked, but they're not. It's just their own. Dude, I've seen dogs like my sister's dog. I've seen that dog wake itself up growling because it farted and it startled itself and it'll wake up growling. Like, come on, dude. They're not exactly the smartest creatures on the planet. So, the next time you're witnessing a child describing a fantastical creature, or maybe a pet reacting to some kind of like unforeseen stimulus, maybe try to resist the urge to immediately explain it away, thinking, oh, it's a ghost. See, this is the problem with my script. It sort of like culminates on this like sort of measure of like, give the dog a break, but in reality it's don't immediately jump to conclusions. Um it is a fun and fantastical thing, and sometimes it's very comforting to think that maybe the child is seeing a ghost of a loved one that has recently passed away, or maybe your grandmother's coming to check in on them. And that's fine and dandy. I'm not here to tell you no. Nick is. He's going to tell you you're an idiot. But I'm not. That's not my game. That's not why I'm here. I'm just here to talk about it. I'm just here to give my own 2 cents. What my goal is and will always be is embrace the weird, embrace ghosts, have fun with it. But don't try to manipulate or convince other people that they're real in like YouTube videos and stuff. Like my problem is that it's like it's shows like Ghost Hunters, or that Zach Baggins show and stuff. These shows they're not for entertainment purposes. They're for monetary gain, and that's the problem with it. They're manipulating people into believing that ghosts are real, to steal from them, to take their money. To sell them stupid merch and stuff. And if ghosts are real, we are never going to get to the bottom of it, because we are so busy recording our children pointing at nothing and not actually taking notes and figuring out what they're pointing at, what's real, what's fake. When I go out and I do my paranormal investigations, we're not like super professional about it, and we don't really understand what we're doing, to be honest. But if I'm going out to look for ghosts, I'm going out to look for ghosts to collect data, and I'm trying my damnedest to make sure that I am collecting as much data as possible so that I can compare my notes later. We can compare notes. Have you guys seen ghosts? Have you guys seen a ghost? Tell me about it. Write it in the comments below. I genuinely want to know what your experiences are. And I also want to know if you found the gas leak in your house, because that's probably why you're seeing ghosts. You know what I mean? But like, yeah, like to be fair, like I'm again, like I was at work all day today, so I'm losing a little bit of the sauce at this point. We're only 13 minutes in, so I can ramble for a little bit longer. It's not like anybody watches this far anyway. But I would love nothing more than for ghosts to be real, or spirits to be real, because it would be a very comforting thing. It'd be super convenient if ghosts were real. It would give my life a whole new purpose. Hunting, learning, interpreting, convincing the world, talking to people, collecting as much data as possible, creating a scientific foundation for ghost research. But the fact of the matter is that the only thing that is genuinely real, and well, I mean, like, let's be real here. I believe in aliens. I don't believe they've ever visited Earth. I just that's very high and mighty of myself to think maybe that ghosts or that the aliens have visited Earth, but ghosts are definitely not real. I would love for ghosts to be real. Trust me. If you guys have any experience with ghosts or any haunted places that you've been to, any stories that you want to share, I would more than love to have them. You don't have to like comment on the videos for engagement or anything like that. If you just want to email us your story, dude, do it. And you know what? If you email us your stories, your ghost stories, you don't scare me yt at gmail.com. I'm pretty sure it's in the description below. If you email us those videos or those stories, and you want us to read them out, maybe talk about them, Nick and I can sit down and make you feel like crap, because he's just gonna crap all over you. But if you guys want us to sit here, like I'll sit out here and then at night, and and I'll read some spooky stories. I love that stuff. That stuff would be amazing. So yeah, if you guys have any ghost stories, if you guys have any experiences, maybe some videos that you've taken yourself or photos that you've taken yourself, and you want us to look them over, dude, pizza in my fridge that I want to go eat. Anyway, let's just end it here. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching this far. If you made it this far into the video, maybe comment below Bumblebee Tuna. As always, Bumblebee Tuna is really good. And yeah, if you guys have any suggestions for future content or any you want to see us read some spooky stories, I can review some stuff together and talk about some stuff. That would be more than fun. I don't know, that'd be super awesome. But thanks for watching this far. Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. Go check out our paranormal investigations. If they are up and live, I will link them in the end of this video. They'll be in the comments below. I'm just going to create a list. There are a bunch, you know. See us out in the field making asses of ourselves. We always err on the side of comedy because it's much more fun than anything else. Yeah. All right. Okay, love you. Bye.